Good afternoon, ladies and gents, and welcome back to Black Mesa Radio! Today we'll be talking about books, space, and everything in between, so let's start the show! 60 seconds. Pick up from good. 30 seconds. We copy you down, Eagle.
So, listeners, before
this is Chase. I'm here.
Oh yeah, I guess
and
we should.
I'm Nate. I left that out in my
In your old timey person.
Oh, Chase, you see.
So we got hosts over there. We got Chase,
Chase.
Nate.
Seth, the real Seth.
the real Seth,
Back.
Seth Turnage.
The real Seth is back.
No longer bearded dragon
Not
Seth.
pseudo Seth.
Pseudo. That's so mean. Pseudo Seth that's listening out there. You're not pseudo to us. You're whole.
Well, but we don't tell that to Seth's face.
And Josh. So that's your host. Anyway, so listeners, before we started this show today, we were talking about books, and so we were talking about Harry Potter particularly, and how there's a lot of strange things. Obviously, it's a book
What
about magic.
if Filch got fired?
Then he would
That was
he
the
would be
main
like out of. We were talking about Filch, yeah, specifically. He would be, I guess, put out on the streets to go live with Muggles, and he wouldn't know what to do because he's never been around them. He's been in that magical world. They would think he was insane.
I haven't read the books or anything. What is his story like prior to, like the Harry Potter books?
I don't think
like his upbringing.
They
and
don't
stuff.
go into it too much, but I know that he was.
I'm sure that there's. I'm sure it's out there.
He's from a wizard family.
He's from a wizarding
really?
family, and he's a squib, which means he has no magical powers. He's just.
When
He's a mistake.
you say he wouldn't
He's
be
a
able
terrible
to
mistake of God.
function
Bummer.
to wizard God, but you say he wouldn't be able to survive in
Yeah, Dumbledore.
the regular world, but he's already lived his whole life without having access to magic.
Yeah, but he's
Himself.
he's lived his whole life without access to magic in the magical world.
But he still has to do everything for himself.
No, that's not what I'm saying. When I say that, I'm saying like he come out into our world, they kick him out. He
That
goes
would
in
be
our
easy
world,
enough to get used
and
to.
he has no idea what pop culture is. He has no idea what's normal.
Do squibs not still live in the magical realm?
I believe they do. That's what I'm
But
saying.
no, all he has to do, he's a crotchety, angry old man. He'll fit in anywhere where that's applicable. And he doesn't have to understand pop culture.
I'm just
I don't
saying.
get
No, that's not-
this new nonsense.
Hypocrite.
I'm not saying that either necessarily, but like I don't know. I just feel like, so if he got fired, like he would still be living amongst the wizards wherever they live.
Probably.
Was he kind of like I don't want to call him a charity case because Dumbledore always seemed to have people in place that seemed weird, but he could read their
Yeah.
character really well. So at first you would hate them, like Snape.
Spoilers. For
Yeah.
For anybody who hasn't read
Dude.
those books that came out forever ago, or the movies
Don't
that
listen
came
to
out.
this, but it's been time. You've had your time.
Earmuffs, kids.
If the movie has already come out a long time ago, then it's time. Sorry. So,
I agree.
also, what was that? Trelawney. Professor Trelawney was also like a kind of a joke for a while, but he had her there for a specific reason. So I wonder if Filch had the same thing.
Wait, what are you saying?
Except he wanted to like chain kids up in the dungeon like they used to. I don't know. It seemed like
That's kind of weird.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
that's just
But
kind of
that's just how they used to handle things. Like that's basically true for a lot of cultures. Like you just got to get away with a lot of crap that you just can't do anymore.
a lot of inhumane acts were totally acceptable.
Yeah.
That's just a Tuesday.
I'm just saying, I don't think he would have functioned in the human world. But then I also think
they're
that
humans.
I think
Josh.
he could have functioned fairly well.
I think at
Wizards are
some
human.
point,
Some
No.
of them.
no,
They're
they're
demons.
not. They're aliens. I think at some point, the human world would overtake the magical world because all of Harry Potter takes place in the 90s, correct?
Yeah, pretty much.
Back when like internet was in its infancy, technology was, we had fairly modern technology. We had nukes and stuff, but we didn't have as much of like a technological surveillance state that we have now. I just went real crazy for a minute there. But I was saying, like, eventually there's no way that the magical people could hide. Also, if you had magical abilities, why not go to space? They could easily, like, colonize another planet like that. Like, they could just do it with no problem.
That is, unless somehow that they never discussed that their magical powers are tied to this planet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, but they say that their magic is tied to their blood, so.
And their blood is tied to the earth.
But the thing about space, perhaps kind of like what we talked about before, that they start building on different technologies, so it completely changes their mindset, their wants, and their desires. So
And the
since
direction of the species itself.
right, so they didn't go with the technological advances, and especially Mr. Weasley, who's all about technology, and the mug was like, "It's so fascinating." Like it's everyday life. We don't get it. So like what they think is awesome, besides Mr. Weasley, is completely different, and their desires probably have nothing to do with space.
Are there any other
Except for the centaurs.
fictional worlds?
But they
where-
do think space is a big deal, though.
do
they?
The astrological stuff.
Yeah, all the
Yeah, that's
astrological
true.
stuff.
But I mean that has nothing to do with
Exploration.
like space exploration or anything.
But
like
still, like that like kernel of fascination is there.
They do like hidden worlds because they make their own hidden worlds. Maybe they already populated the moon. They didn't want to tell you about it.
What were you going to say,
Probably.
Seth? Are there any other fictional worlds
I'm
where...
thinking of like other fictional worlds that take place like on our Earth, where like technology advanced in a highly different direction, and like just a comparison, like what that would be like.
Oh, that's an interesting thought.
Actually, you talked about one
steampunk.
in like that book you read.
Which
With,
book?
like, they had the
Don't bring
pig's
it
brain
up.
computer.
Oh, John dies at the end. Yeah.
Oh, that.
There we go.
That book that I love. Yeah.
That we're sponsored by, so everyone go out and buy it.
David Wong, sponsor us.
Seriously.
Yeah,
Might as well.
no. There was this world where this guy created organic computers and technology went that way instead of like silicone, stuff like that. So
That's the future, man.
Oh,
it's
I
terrifying in the book.
thought of another. I know you've watched it before, Josh, but Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah. The anime?
Yeah, it was like where they didn't have regular science. They like alchemy advanced super far, and that's where they got all their technology. And it takes place like in the 30s and 40s,
Yeah.
I think, and it's like way more advanced
Watchmen.
because of that.
Watchmen takes place in a world where we lost World War II.
Really?
Yeah. And everything, I mean, you can see how everything is vastly different. Like they had flying hover cars and not everywhere, obviously, because there was still like that really heavy.
As opposed to hovering flying
Speaking
cars.
of the hovering flying cars or whatever you want to call it, there was some car that had something wrong with it. It flew past me on the highway this past week, and it sounded just like the Jetsons. Swear to God. Yeah,
Was it a Tesla?
God knows. But I was just like, what was that? Or maybe I had a UFO experience. I don't know. But anyways, that was just a tangent for the day.
Interesting.
Good contribution to this story, to this conversation.
Speaking of the Jetsons now.
His boy.
Oh, it's a dystopian future where no one
So
can
when are
take
they
care
gonna?
of
When's
themselves?
Hollywood gonna make a Jetsons movie, a live action?
Oh, I hope they don't.
Never, I hope.
They've done some Hanna-Barbera stuff already. They did Scooby Doo, and those were awesome.
The
Flintstones.
Scooby-Doo movies were pretty cool, except for the Scrappy-Doo part.
I was joking, but
Nobody ever
I
liked
liked them.
Scrappy Doo, though. Scrappy
No one does.
was the worst.
Tim Curry was going to be in the movie until they said that Scrappy-Doo was in the plot, and he said no, and like
He backed
dropped
out.
out because of that. Because he said that was the worst thing that ever happened to
Because like,
Scooby-Doo.
wasn't
Yep.
he going to be? He was going to be like the main villain,
Jay-
and then he backed out
terrible.
because of Scrappy.
I liked the, I liked the Scooby-Doo movies. I was also like 14 when they came
What
out.
about like
so.
the first Flintstones movie?
That was pretty terrible.
Yeah.
With John Goodman and Rick Moranis.
Moranis, Halle Berry.
Yeah, Halle Berry was
I
in it.
don't remember that.
Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a weird podcast. A weird episode. Has anybody ever thought about how like the Jetsons live in like a horrible dystopian future?
You were saying that.
is
a
it
minute ago.
horrible?
Think about it. Like they're lazy. It's almost like Wall-E. They're lazy. They don't have to do anything. George Jetson's job is all he does every day is just push a button.
Yeah,
That's all. And there's no real like sign that he's accomplishing anything.
that's the dream.
That's the dream. That's the dream. And so they can't go down to the surface because some disaster made the surface unlivable. So they live in the sky now.
Is that what they say on the show?
It's implied. I don't know if they say it.
It's implied that they haven't gone down to the surface ever.
No,
I
it
remember
is.
them, like,
They didn't
living in
know
the
because
sky.
when in the crossover episode where the Jetsons and the Flintstones meet, like they talk about how like, oh, we haven't been on land in so long. Like they didn't even know what it was. So mankind doesn't even know why we don't go to the ground anymore. My guess is because it's a horrible mutant apocalypse down there.
And you know
Under
that
the
there are
clouds.
people down there. Down there is Fallout.
Oh man, it's Elysium.
It
Like
would-
they're just
it-
in
and
the
it
sky
would actually-
in their
Whoa.
in their utopian world.
The Jetsons just got really cool.
Fallout would actually fit that motif.
Yeah, that
The
1950s.
1960s, like weird, like
Yeah.
future technology motif. It fits it perfectly.
I'm just
Fallout
saying.
and
That's
Jetsons,
pretty rad.
same universe.
I'm
You
just
heard
saying.
it here first.
Heard her first. That's such a weird thing to talk about.
Oh, also conspiracy theories. Why weren't there conspiracy theorists in the Harry Potter universe?
Oh yeah, we
Like,
talked about that too before the podcast.
They have like blurry black and white pictures of people flying through the sky like on a broom, and they're like, "What the fuck is that?" And people are like, you've got like wizards that are planted like in the government that are like shooting it down, and then like you have wizards planting wizards that purposefully sound crazy just to make all the other conspiracy theorists sound crazy. Like, I feel like that's a whole angle that could have been played with that wasn't.
That's something we should have talked about last week is disinformation. That happens a lot. Like the best way to cover up a story is just put a whole bunch of other crappy stories out there.
Which is kind of what happens all the time.
Literally.
So you have to really dig through all the garbage and stories to really get to the truth. And so anybody who hasn't really done their homework on it is just going to say, it's just a bunch of hooey. Look at this story. It's stupid and this stupid. So they're all stupid. But only just one of those stories has to be true.
Yeah. Some people, I heard the other day someone talking about Alex Jones, like, no offense, whatever, but they're saying that Alex Jones was like actually planted like on purpose to make conspiracy theorists sound crazy.
I don't know who that is.
Y'all, come on. Alex Jones, he's a big deal. He's a big deal to like crazy libertarian conspiracy types.
He talks a lot about know who it is.
He has the Alex Jones radio show or whatever, and he's got like a podcast and stuff. Prison Planet. Like,
no, we talked about him. Yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah, there's like Prison Planet bumper stickers all the time. Or I see him. I don't know.
Blue Car Syndrome.
Maybe just because I'm awake now.
Prison Planet sounds like a terrible like or sci-fi channel movie.
Or it's Blue Car Syndrome where you're aware of it, so you notice it. Like now that I got a Kia Soul, so I see Kia Souls everywhere, and I'm like, ugh.
Dude, they are everywhere. I know my wife has one, but they really are.
I'll bring a picture.
They're so dang comfortable and wonderful to drive.
That car was designed for millennials.
Sponsor us, Kia.
First car.
It's very zippy. Like, when we got married and she had that car, like I was like, it's a Kia Soul. It's like a wannabe SUV, but it drives really well, and
and they're comfortable.
Actually, they designed it where it's quite roomy. It's not a very pretty car. I'm not going to give them that.
I like it.
It's designed well. It's function over form.
And when I drive around, I go zip.
Yeah.
Wow, that's weird.
It's zippy, man.
It's true. That's the sound it makes.
Oh, yeah?
They have an attachment you put on the exhaust pipe.
It's a Jetson thing that changed. That's what it was.
That makes me think. I watched a video earlier of a guy who he's.
You know who that is?
Yeah, I know who that Alex dude is.
Listeners, Nathan is showing a picture of Alex
He's
Jones.
on the InfoWars
I don't know
guy.
who that is.
Yeah, InfoWars.
Yeah.
Anyway, Seth, what were you saying?
This guy, these engineers started designing gun loudeners.
Interesting.
That's on an episode of The Simpsons.
Well, this guy, like, he actually engineered, it's like a real thing you screw into the front of the gun. Like, he showed a 223, like a AR.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're not super loud, but they are, kind of loud. He put it on there and measured the decibel level, and it was, like, almost that of, like, a 50 cal, like, a sniper
to scare
rifle.
people off.
That's crazy.
I'm not going that way. Dude knows what's
sounds
up.
like a cannon. It's awesome. I don't see it being practical, but I guess if you want to scare people away.
Yeah.
I just thought of The Simpsons where he's inventing stuff and he makes the makeup gun. Homer, you had it set on whore!
When he shoots her in the face.
Yeah.
This time, try to keep your nostrils closed.
I love The Simpsons.
That was the worst Marge Simpson impression.
Whatever, dude. It was like hoarse and raspy and sounded terrible. It's Marge Simpson.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, speaking of decibels, that reminded me. There was a prank a couple months back that went on the internet. And this company was it was a fake company. I'm doing air quotes. They had this thing called the Cube, and it was a black cube that was supposed to be able to do anything you needed it to. Like it could do, like it had its own Wi-Fi signal. It was internet. It could project things. You could watch it like a TV. You could call
Did it
people.
have all the TV apps? Because that's what somebody really needs to do.
Well, it's not real, Chase.
Well, I don't care as long as it had all the TV apps.
But the thing is, they said that its volume level at its maximum was 400 decibels.
What?
And everybody was like, what? Obviously, it wasn't real. And the whole thing was, it was a prank. And then someone on, I think it was Reddit probably, did the math. And they're like, you realize that 400 decibels could end the world. They're like, if it went that loud. Because the loudest recorded thing we've ever done was 320. And that was a microphone that got obliterated by a nuclear bomb. Like, that was the loudest we've ever done. And
So the nuclear bomb was the loudest.
yes.
There
The
is
microphone was.
nothing more satisfying than watching old videos of a nuke going off. I don't know why. Like,
Oh,
I just,
no.
Dude,
I
it is,
love that.
it is beautiful in a really weird way. Like,
It really
There
is.
is something captivating about it.
It looks like
I
Dragon
totally
Ball
get
Z,
that.
too.
I get on YouTube. I get on YouTube
God.
sometimes and look up
why they think
atomic
that's what they
bombs
base
going
it on.
off.
I was wrong, by the way. It wasn't, I misread. It wasn't, nuclear bomb. It was the Tuskegee meteor was the loudest thing ever.
Oh, the thing.
And that was somewhere between 300 to 315. I misread.
And then
That crazy
the shuttle
Tuskegee
takeoff is the
event.
loudest man-made thing, right?
Loudest man-made thing? Let me look. Because I have a list here right now.
Was the meteor one that happened in like the 1950s in Russia,
It was
where it,
earlier
like,
than that.
obliterated all the trees? And maybe it was the 20s then.
Yeah, I think it was like I want to say 1917, but I think that was too early.
It was 1908.
So early.
7:40 a.m. on June 30th, 1908. It was the impact similar to a 1,000 megaton bomb with a decibel rating of 300 to 315. Considered the loudest single event in history. The loudest man-made thing is a 1-ton explosion of TNT.
Oh, okay. So 1 megaton?
So standing as close.
Bombs that are like multiple megatons?
Yeah, you would think so. It says standing as close as 250 feet away from the impact, the resulting explosion of a 1-ton bomb creates a decibel count of 210. Without sufficient hearing protection, not to mention completely, being surrounded in a bunker, you would quite literally die from the vibrations of the noise.
I guess, because I know we've like tested
Shaken
bombs
baby
before
syndrome.
that are like, because there's that Russian one, the Tsar Bomba.
Yeah.
But they never dropped on like an actual country, but they tested it. And it was like 400 megatons or something like that. It was insane.
That's so big.
You would think that would be louder, but maybe it's different because atomic bombs are
I think
different.
it might be different because you're dealing with straight energy and you're decreasing the amount of mass that you have. So the conservation of matter was true up until we discovered nuclear energy. So only in that case are you eliminating matter and converting it straight to energy. And sound waves are compression waves that you have to have matter to do. So I'm guessing,
That makes sense.
I'm not an acoustics
Kinda.
engineer,
What?
but there is a lot
Are there any
more
acoustics engineers out there?
from a,
Right in.
when you have the actual physical TNT exploding into a vapor, that's going into a gas. So you're going to be shocking the surrounding atmosphere a lot more than I think you would with just pure energy radiating out and melting your skin.
That makes sense.
One of my favorite parts in the Douglas Adams Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series is there's a band called Disaster Area where the audience will sit like 1,000 miles away in a bunker and the band will be playing from space, but their stage is on the planet, and the decibels are like at 2,000 levels or
And their
2,000
soundstage-
decibels.
And didn't he say something about their soundstage looking like the Manhattan skyline if all the buildings were amps?
Yes.
Like, yeah.
And like the area, there's like it's like 1,000-mile radius or something like that destroyed by the band performing.
And they play from like a spaceship that's
Yeah.
not even on the planet.
Yeah, and the audience is
Dude, I
several
love
thousand
that.
miles away. So funny.
And then, yeah, anyway.
Was that on Death Clock or something?
No, that was on.
That's,
That's in the
This sounds like Metalocalypse, though. It
Or
really
Metal,
does.
yeah, Metalocalypse.
That's in the
what it's called.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. But that does sound like Metalocalypse, like when they drop the giant spiky cube in Antarctica, like where they have they drop tea on the audience.
Yeah.
Or no, it was coffee. It was coffee.
Or they like take a submarine
it's
down.
such
because
a good
fish need
parody
metal.
of metal. I love it.
ad.
Yeah, it is.
Oh man,
It
that is
makes me
good.
love metal, even though some of those kids are weird. But
You folks want some coffee? Oh, okay, that was silly. I love it.
I used to be a metalhead, kind of. I didn't wear black all the time.
I'm not a metalhead really anymore. There's some metal bands that I still enjoy, but The Sword is probably still my favorite band.
I'm telling you, man, let's start a band called Serpents and Kings. Let's do it. That sounds awesome. It's a
Is
Daredevil
it
quote.
going to be that Magic the Gathering based?
No, we should make a Magic the Gathering based band. we
Dude,
keep talking about that.
Abhorrent Overlord.
Abhorrent Overlord.
Abhorrent Overlord.
Dude, such...
I really want to get back into Magic, or I'm sorry, D&D. I want to finish that. Trying to get it going, and
Oh, yeah.
no, I don't think it's demonic at all.
So, listeners, we're going to
I mean,
be.
it is, but whatever. It's
so,
fun.
So, listeners, in the next couple weeks, we may not. We have to see how it goes. We may broadcast an episode where we just play Dungeons and Dragons and let the listeners enjoy and geek out with us. We may not, though. I'm not sure. We'll figure that
I
one
thought
out.
we could call it a sidecast.
Sidecast.
perhaps, something. It'd be fun if you like us, which you may not. We're just.
if you like us, but you probably don't.
I mean, you probably like.
It's like,
me,
I love
but
that podcast, but I hate those guys.
The other three are kind of boring. But,
Their content is interesting, but ugh, as people.
I hate their personalities.
Can't
I'm really
stand them.
banking on my personality keeping this thing up, like, at least on my end. Because like I bring no knowledge to the table.
You bring fun, flavor, and interesting things.
I bring something. I keep getting invited. I bring beer mostly.
That does help.
And that's why we keep
That does
inviting
help
you.
a lot.
Anyway. But yeah, listeners, we're going to be doing D&D podcast.
We want to do one D&D, like, all the way through without recording it to make sure that we're doing it right and it doesn't suck.
Like how you say D&D as if it's an individual thing. We're going to do one D&D, just one.
We're going to wrap up a series because it'd be really difficult for somebody to get into the middle of our
One campaign.
campaign.
No. You just go last time on D&D.
Last time on D&D.
Yeah. And then you just like fill everybody in, kind of like on Game of Thrones.
Can we get that guy?
Last time on Black Mesa D&D.
Can we get the
So
guy who
we
did
would-
the Dragon Ball Z thing to come in and
We
do
would,
it for us?
we'd have a pre-built backstory is essentially what you're saying. So,
Yeah.
okay.
No, wait. To start off with,
No, he just means fill you in, just like on a TV show when they're like, previously on Lost. This
Well,
happened,
but
this happened,
everybody
this
has to put a backstory in, like when the TV show was just starting, or else it's
oh yeah.
well, I should say most shows.
Not necessarily. Yeah, I was going to say, it just depends.
Yeah.
Some shows just jump right in. Daredevil did.
Depends on how episodic the show is.
Yeah,
Episodic. I like that.
but
and we can do it like a TV show, as in where like you we're this is totally not. I don't feel like this is podcast worthy, but we could totally do it like a TV show where like at different points, like in the adventure, like if there's two characters that are just like hanging out, they can just be like, "So what's your story?" and like blah blah blah. And
Tell me about yourself, Dark
how did you get mixed up in this, like or whatever.
so we're gonna essentially be doing a radio show from like the 1940s.
Dude, yeah, but that's fun. That's exactly what a lot of podcasts
I'm
are.
100% on board for that. As long as Seth does the intro, just like he did this
We can get
today's
out
intro.
decoder rings so you can like win prizes.
Sponsored by Lucky Strike cigarettes and
Ovaltine.
Hydrox.
Hydrox. Ovaltine and Moxie.
No, but we've been listening.
By General
or
Motors.
I have been listening to Earwolf Radio, and they've been doing a D&D podcast, and I thought it was really interesting.
That's
that the-
Brian Posehn's podcast, right?
That's the one.
Yeah.
I
it-
have not listened to that yet.
Oh, it's so good.
They're pretty funny, but the DM is always like, I have a storyline planned out, and I never get to use it ever.
That's
Because they
hilarious.
always want to do something
Because
completely
they
stupid.
derail exactly what
Yeah,
he wanted
like,
to do.
Why didn't you guys just do this? But I don't know. It didn't seem like a good idea.
That's what's fun about it, though.
Yeah, that's true.
what makes it.
Well, it's like the last game, listeners of D&D that we did. Anyway, we had I was the DM and I had the party in a bar.
Party barge.
Where I fully intended them just to interview people and get information, and then one of the characters, which was Seth's character actually,
Lit the town on
cha-
fire?
no, he challenged everybody in the bar to a drinking contest to get information.
Well, no, information.
Or no, to get
and
gold is what
money,
it was.
'cause, like, we didn't have any money, and there was a blacksmith in town, and you're like, this blacksmith sells this and this and this. I'm like, well, I want all that, but I have like 20 gold pieces.
Yeah.
I can't do that. It's like, can I challenge everybody in the bar to a drinking contest?
And I had never even thought that would be an option. And I was like, sure, just go for it. We'll see what happens. I was like,
And-
you need to roll this, like at least this high to win each drink.
And it
And
was
then,
against 12 people.
and he did.
I won every single
He won
roll.
12 rolls in a row.
Dang.
And I was like, are you kidding me?
And I won like 600 gold,
Which
and
is-
bought everybody
See,
gear.
because I thought he got really drunk. Somehow we burned down the whole town. I don't.
That was...
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
Or is that a different one?
I don't know. I know we spent like 2 hours in the town.
You guys
instead of
spent
getting
way
out.
more time in the town than I had ever expected you to.
Dude, it was freaking Cody's fault.
trying to rob
It
the
was
bank.
Cody's fault. If you're listening, Cody Henning, our friend.
He won't listen to this.
He won't. That's funny. But no, we did. The party spent way too much time in town, and I was so just ready for you
Well,
guys
we
to
also
leave.
had like 8 people.
That's true.
Yeah.
It was too many. The party was too big. It should never be bigger than probably 6, I would say.
Yeah.
But you do what you can. It was fun though. It was a
God,
good
like
time.
he had to like go to every single building. He's that guy who, like, in a video game, has done every single thing possible. Like
In that
every
town.
nook and cranny has found everything.
Don't pretend like playing Skyrim. You're not going to walk and check every single room and every single.
I
corner.
have not finished any Elder Scrolls game because I always am like, all right, I'm so bored with this game, and I never finish the actual campaign because I'm too busy exploring everything and something new. Like, there's way too many side missions. Just stop it.
That's the point of that game, though.
Dude, speaking of Elder Scrolls and stuff, do you know that there's like 5 hidden bosses in Skyrim?
Nope.
Yes.
Yep, that's super cool. And it's completely off topic, and most of our listeners don't even play Skyrim or won't care because they don't know what it is.
How do you know?
Because he's probably beat them or
No,
something.
No, like, how do you know our listeners don't play Skyrim?
Oh, I'm sure some of them. Randy Arizmendez, shout out. He does. I know he does.
Market data seems to suggest that.
Market data. Actually, on our
We have
Mixcloud,
graphs.
admin site, the one that I upload all the stuff to, we do have statistics on the demographics of the people listening.
Really?
It's nothing like creepy, like Facebook stalker type stuff.
We have all your phone numbers.
But if they log in, if they log in with Facebook, like it shows like, this is one of your listeners. They logged in with Facebook. This is a little bit about them. Or it's like, for instance, Justin Jump, who listens to us.
He does?
Yeah. It just shows his username and then his real name that he signed up with, and then that's it. So it depends on how you log in.
Okay.
But yeah, dude, he's Wagon Burner 88, right?
Well, yeah, he's always been
What
that.
way
I
to
didn't- I
call him
didn't
out
know.
and give his information through the air?
His username
Yeah,
that he
you just
uses
said
for
his real-
literally everything.
You said his username and his real name. He probably didn't want you to use his real name and his username.
He doesn't care.
Justin doesn't care.
We love you, Justin. Thank you for listening to Black Mesa Radio.
Keep not caring, buddy.
I feel like we should have gone to a break there. Thank you for listening to Black Mesa Radio.
Ovaltine.
Ew.
I'm just kidding.
God, we need to get better sponsors.
Dude.
This show is going nowhere.
Nesquik.
Oh, Nesquik.
Let's get sponsored by Nesquik rather than.
Can we do that?
Tang.
Gross.
Dude, forget Nesquik. I'm just going straight to Brahms chocolate milk
Oh,
because it's like syrup. It's thick.
Oh,
They
yeah.
put like
You have to choke it down.
xanthan gum to thicken that
But
stuff
it's so
up. Just-
delicious.
Oh yes.
Choke on it.
gotta chew your chocolate milk.
So Brahms, if you're
Leave it in
listening,
your truck long enough, you did.
Dude, Brahms.
we're accepting
I love you,
sponsorship right now.
Brahms. Absolutely.
We will do a commercial for Brahms every single week.
If anybody who
Yeah.
not from the southern Midwest, I'm not really sure what region technically.
I think Brahms is only in Oklahoma, Texas,
I have no idea.
Missouri.
But you know how we can find out?
Internet.
If we got some kind of Brahms deal with Brahms where they just give me free food all the time, that might be the worst thing that ever happened to me.
and the best thing at the same time.
Yeah.
Anyways, so they have a farm here, not too far away from where we live at, and they only truck out what can be shipped within 24 hours. So anything past a 24-hour drive time is not going to be a store. So everything is fresh and delicious and
It's like a grocery store / fast food restaurant
yeah,
/
gift from God.
/ ice cream shop.
yeah,
Their ice cream. Oh man.
dude. Pretty much Brahms milk.
Are we
That's
going
the
to
whole
Brahms
thing.
after this? Is that what's happening
Dude.
right now?
You want to? Hey, let's take a break real quick and we'll come back.
Give me some cappuccino chunky chocolate.
We could just
yeah.
not go to Brahms and then take a break and then just pretend like we did.
No.
We'll be back after this break, listeners. Eating this ice cream.
Oh, that's good.
Got those lactose farts.
And there goes that sponsorship that we were so very much hoping for.
Oh, that is appetizing.
But through the magic of editing,
No, I'm leaving it in.
Oh, leave that
Okay.
in.
I'm leaving that in.
that's fine.
I leave in pretty much a lot of stuff these days.
I don't
Good.
think you edit it. You just pretty much cut from
Just
the beginning
edit out
and
the cuss
end.
words and leave it alone.
That's not even kind of true. I edit out a whole bunch of stuff.
Do you?
But yeah.
Huh.
It's mostly long gaps of silence, as well as likes, like when someone
like what you just said. Like when someone,
says
no,
like
I literally was saying and like.
and then you went, like when someone blah blah blah, and you kept going. You just totally did it.
You did.
You did it.
You said it twice.
I
You said it on
twice.
purpose, and then you said it for real.
So Josh edits half of his words out.
I know.
You're the weak link in our podcast.
It's true. It's true. So yeah, I do edit out quite a bit of stuff. I gotta stop saying now. Dang it. I'm gonna end up editing all that anyway.
My name is Nathan.
But yeah, I do edit out when someone cusses, if it's something particularly bad, I'll take that out.
I think it makes it worse when people edit out cuss words because it leaves it up to the imagination. And the imagination is so much worse than reality.
Well, say someone drops the F-bomb, which we've had guests and other people drop the F-bomb before. I'll leave the
I have done it probably once per at least.
you do it quite a bit. I'll leave the and the k sound in, so it's just like,
You should start bleeping, but sometimes
That's the best
bleeping,
part of
oh my
words.
gosh, why don't I bleep
Like
it?
bleeping random words.
That's such a good idea. I could do
aren't
that.
Swears.
Dude, you shouldn't
Just
bleep it.
occasionally.
Not a bleep though. Use an awesome.
Use a slide whistle.
I don't know about that.
Oh, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna add in some random sound effect. Whenever
A duck.
a d-
That would be fun. I
That
like
could be
that.
kind of awesome.
You guys want? Okay, it's gonna be a duck.
Back to Metalocalypse, they always do like the guitar sound, like somebody
Yeah.
like missed a note.
Or
in,
we could actually replace
Guitar
it with a
Hero.
stupid word like mucklug.
That is.
I always think about that.
That is a stupid word. You're
I know.
right.
Let's just replace it with that.
Let's replace.
Son of a mucklug.
We'll replace it with a short commercial for Brahms.
on Craig Ferguson, they always like just threw in like a random French word.
Croissant.
Oh,
Yeah,
Croissant.
I actually said garçon, but yeah, that was croissant.
I was good.
Either one of those works.
Doesn't matter. I don't speak French. I speak freedom.
Oh.
freedom fries. Remember that?
Yeah, that's still a thing.
I'm so glad we took a
is it?
stand on that.
French fries weren't even French. I think they were Belgian or something.
You're damn right.
I thought they were English. They're
Freedom
called
fries,
chips.
son.
I don't know. It's just-
People were like taking French wine and like dumping it in like the street gutters and stuff.
I can't tell if you're serious. That actually
No,
happened?
that really happened because
Oh,
it was a
that's
big deal.
so
Because we were like, we're
silly.
going to war. Who wants to come? And France was like, nah, we're good. And so everybody's really mad about it.
Like, boo! Be on our side.
Exactly.
They ain't with us, you're against us.
we definitely had a thing against France ever since the revolution ended, I feel like. It was like, yeah.
It's like they helped us, and then there was the whole French and Indian
Yeah, it's
War
kind of
thing.
messed up.
Well, and a part of it was they're mad at us because we didn't help them with their revolution. But the thing was, they had like a bunch of them, and most of them were kind of like, you don't need to do this. And they were like, come help us, America. And we're like, no.
Help you fight who? Yourselves?
Basically.
We were fighting the Indians the whole
Help
time.
us fight the proletariat.
The proletariat.
Got me a
The
constituency.
bourgeoisie.
Josh, do you know what the proletariat
Dismantle the
is?
proletariat.
That's the normal people.
You're the normal people.
The bourgeoisie is the...
Let's tear South apart.
You're the bourgeoisie.
Okay.
I'm gonna stop talking.
Thank you.
This is adult
Bourgeoisie the owners of
conversation,
production, or is that something else?
Yes.
That's a different group of people?
No, I think that they're like the people... They're kind of those in power.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they are the... I forget. It depends on where it's from, where it's being talked about. I don't know.
Once again, I speak freedom, not French. So,
Yeah.
This really terrible hybrid slang of Spanish and English.
hey, you back off,
Hombre.
hombre. we're speaking American right now. We speak the language of freedom in this country.
Okay.
So, on a completely other note, to get this podcast back to talking about things that are not rambly, did you guys see the whole thing about South Korean government sponsoring their industry, especially on like their docks? They gave them like exosuits that like
Exosuits.
exosuits. We'll try this again. They gave them exosuits that they can use to like lift up to 1,000 pounds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous.
That's really cool.
I saw that they were
It's
working on
crazy.
There's a company that's trying to build that kind of thing for people who like are paralyzed and stuff like that.
Wow.
I just want the suit from Alien.
And they have I don't know if they're selling them right now, like mass producing them or anything, but they have like working versions of it that they
Yeah,
made.
no, there's a girl that I am friends with on Facebook who I went to O-Trip with at the time, and I mean, we don't really talk anymore, but she's never unfriended me, and I've never unfriended her. But she posted a news article about herself the other day where she went to, I think it was Missouri, and she tested out like one of those suits. Her legs don't work from the waist down, like she's paralyzed from the waist down, and she like was walking around with it and stuff because it like does that for you. It's
It, like,
really crazy.
Read your brain waves or something like that to figure out what you're trying to.
Wait, I thought we were still trying to master the art of human walking. Like, we can't do that by a software
We pretty much
program
got
just
it.
yet.
I'm pretty good at it.
Have you heard about the
I walked in here.
English doctor who cured a man of paralysis?
What? Doing what? Did he replace his head?
No.
Exorcism.
No, like what happened is this guy got stabbed in the spine like years ago, and he couldn't feel anything or walk from the anything from the waist down, and that he treated him by like putting a certain type of like stem cell
Oh, I did hear
in
about
that
that.
area where the cut was, and it healed itself. And
Wow.
he doesn't have full function yet, but he can walk like with the help of like a walker. He can actually move his legs, and he doesn't have full feeling, but he has some sensation back. And
That's insane.
That's just a step, in getting paralysis completely healed.
Have you heard about the guy that got his finger grown back with like that powder that they made out of like a pig's liver?
What?
What? I did not hear about that.
Dude, yeah.
Pig's
This-
liver powder.
this
We're
guy-
going to start like massacring pigs and grinding up their livers like they do in Africa with rhino horns.
Oh, dude, they went extinct this week. The West
No.
The black rhino.
West African black rhino went
Yeah,
extinct this week.
Got declared extinct.
So good joke, Chase.
Dang it.
You douche.
I didn't
Yeah.
know.
Too
Too
soon.
soon. I know. God.
Literally.
Because I didn't know.
Yeah.
It is kind of messed up. It sucks.
It's incredibly tragic. Now, what are all those countries that use it as an aphrodisiac going to use? It's just sad.
Dude, that's so crazy. Once something is like an aphrodisiac, people will do they'll kill all of them.
Well,
like,
do you know why they call it an aphrodisiac? I forget the technical term for it.
I know
But,
it's named after Aphrodite.
well, they tend to say things
Above me.
that are like, things that look like,
Oh yeah,
ah, crap, what the heck is it?
liverwort. They used to take liverwort, right? Because it was because there's a lot of things that are named that they're like named after organs or something like that, but it's because it looks like it.
Yeah. So essentially, if it looks like it affects that area of the body. So aphrodisiacs tend to look like, reproductive
Horns.
systems, like a horn.
Interesting.
And that was the science of the
So
day.
it's a straight up phallic reference. That's the whole
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, that's
oh my
essentially
god.
Well, it's the
That's all it
pseudoscience
is.
of the day for sure.
Yep.
Yay, it wasn't psychology today.
What were we? What was it?
I'm
Was I
finding
saying something?
you. No, maybe I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, we totally got talking about, pig liver.
Oh yeah, okay. This guy was like really into RC airplanes, and one of his RC airplanes cut his finger off, and they couldn't find the end of it to have it like reattached. It cut it off. I think it was his middle finger, like from that last knuckle,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and it was kind of this experimental thing. They like isolate this certain part of the liver. They like cut this certain part out and like throw the rest of it away. It's the some membrane, I don't know, in the liver. And there's this process where they like dry it out and then like they grind it up into a powder and then they like add something else into it or whatever. And then like he started rubbing it on the wound every day and he grew the end of his finger back. Like,
Does he have a fingernail?
yeah. And it looks perfect. It looks perfect.
What?
Like the same fingerprint, everything. It's like
Same
identical.
fingerprint, huh?
Well, I mean, it would be.
Yeah, from his DNA, I guess. I can't wrap my mind around that.
Dude, look it up. It's legit.
Have you seen the
And
skin
then they
gun?
used it on a guy that stepped on an IED.
I did.
And they were saying that like he'd completely lose the function of his, I think it was his right leg, and they used it to grow back like a really large amount of his like quadriceps muscles.
God, if only Dr. House had that.
Yeah, dude, look it up. It's real.
It would have just ended up being lupus.
It's never lupus, Josh.
What were you going to say about the skin gun, Seth?
There's it's this thing this doctor created for burn victims, and what they do is they take a sample of the person's skin cells and they put it in this like water solution and culture it, and then they put it in this like not modified, it's completely built up from the ground up. It looks kind of like a paint sprayer gun,
It looks really similar
and they
to a paint
attach it
spray.
in there, and it's like computer controlled, so it's really accurate. And they spray it into the wound, and what they're doing is they're spraying the person's own skin cells into the wound, and it regrows it.
It's insane, and
Yeah.
it's like lightning fast. Like over like
in like a matter of weeks.
it's like 3 weeks or something like that.
you couldn't even tell.
It's insane.
The thing I saw about that was a guy who had like 3rd-degree burns on his face, and it just like
Just spray painted his face back on.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
they literally
Yeah.
do, and it looks okay because
and
you've
he
seen.
looked like fine.
Anyway, so you've seen like skin grafts and what those look like.
Yeah.
Afterwards, they leave like the little bit. I mean, you can see where it was.
Yeah.
With this, nothing. It's just smooth. It just looks like your skin.
Gosh.
It's insane.
It is. It's awesome.
It's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Modern medicine, honestly, is going crazy places.
Oh, absolutely. Like, they have been able to sequence DNA and manipulate proteins so easily now that people are can do stuff in their own garages now. Like, people can do research very simply, relatively cheaply. And that's the problem with science today, is that it's advancing so far that anybody with a modicum of biological intelligence can start doing their own tests and experiments with DNA, let's say.
Dude, we're straight up getting to the point where the show Fringe was, where like people were just doing their own experiments.
It's unregulated, and people are pretty much going wherever they want to and wherever they can.
I think it's a good thing.
This is
It's
gonna
terrifying.
What if it ends up starting, like stuff like gene drugs?
Oh,
Gene
what a
doping?
crazy concept.
Yeah, but
doping.
it's gonna be worse than drugs. I'm telling you,
You want to slice your DNA?
It's
Come
gonna
on
be a
in.
joke compared to what's coming on with this stuff.
Crocodile.
Yeah, bring it, son. Dude, freaking myostatin. Like, if we can figure like gene dope myostatin out of people.
Oh, right.
because myostatin is like this, it's like a chemical or something that your body produces that inhibits the growth of your muscles. And they figured out ways like, you can look it up. I forget what these cows are called, but there's a certain like name for them.
Yeah.
They're like a Belgian blue or something like that cow. And they're like double muscled.
They're
and
like the size of a horse.
Yeah, and like we can do the same
bet
thing
they're
with
delicious.
humans. I'm pretty sure, but we haven't done it yet, I think, or something.
Oh, dude, that'd be so.
They've done it with rats though.
Whippets and those cows have a natural mutation. It's a recessive mutation.
For those who don't know, Whippets is a type of dog. Because I didn't know that until someone told
It's
me.
also a type of drug.
Well, they've also created
Really? I didn't know.
myostatin inhibitors where they can use gene doping to take rats and make rats double muscled.
Super rats. They make Master Splinter.
Dude, yeah, let's not make those. Let's stop that right now.
We can
Let's
make,
start
make a Rat-a-tat Pokemon.
Oh, no.
Seth told me something the other day. This is on similar note, different subject. That in the wild, it's been observed more and more that wild chimpanzees have started using spears to like hunt and fish and fight.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So
And now, like, a lot of people are saying,
Planet of the Apes.
you know, it's because, obviously, because, you know, contact with humans. That's what people are saying, but it's still pretty impressive that they know how to use them for that purpose now.
Well, I can't say for sure about like what the cause of this is, but there are many different species of primates that use tools. So I don't
true.
know where this
And,
lies.
Take a
in-
twig and stick it down in the termite mound.
There's a video
Well, use
also
rocks to
of
crack nuts and
Yeah.
I don't remember if it was a chimp or a gorilla using matches to start a fire.
Oh, that's cool.
it made
I'm not teaching.
If it made the matches, I'd be impressed.
It did not, but it actually, like, it has the box of matches, opens it up.
It's
pulls
like the
match out,
smoking
closes
monkey.
it,
That's-
lights
that's
it.
all.
if a regular everyday person could make matches, I would be impressed.
Yeah.
Like I have no idea how to make matches. I'm sure it's
But
not
the thing
that
is,
hard,
you could
but I
seek
don't know how
out
to
the
do it.
knowledge and learn.
I could. That's
the
true.
chimp probably couldn't.
Right.
Probably couldn't.
I don't know. I'm
I
not.
don't, he might have a computer. Who knows?
on the chimp web.
That sounded like a chimp.
And that didn't.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
Were we going to talk about books?
Oh.
We were talking about Harry Potter.
Books are for
originally.
nerds.
I'm reading a good book.
What are you reading?
Have you ever heard of Kelly Starrett?
Nope.
He's like the top dog, as far as I know, CrossFit mobility expert. He's like all about joint mobility and improving human function through using positive movements and
Okay.
crap like that. And I just bought his book called Becoming a Supple Leopard, and I've been working
Becoming a supple leopard?
Oh,
Yeah, I've been
sexy.
working
I
on,
like that. Yeah.
I've been working on my hip mobility and stuff like that.
That's
But
cool.
it's pretty good so far.
Dude, I really need it. Does he have like a section for people's backs, like upper backs and shoulders?
I actually,
Absolutely.
I watched
Yep.
a video the other day on how to touch your toes in 5 minutes, going from like not being able to being able to, and it made
Bend your knees.
Well, it actually starts out with that. Yeah. What it is, it's not that most people can't touch their toes; it's that they're trying to do it wrong, and
Yeah.
that they're bending from their back, and your brain sends signals. Because the way they're doing it, their brain thinks that their back is in distress, and so it sends signals to like lock up the lower muscles, and so it makes it really hard, and that's why people are like, "Oh, I can't do it." But he just showed a simple method to use your hips instead of your back, and like he's like, you can go from not being able to have ever touched your toes in your life to being able to do it in this using this exercise in about 5 minutes. And I am
You have
not
to show me that.
I'm not great at touching my toes. I can do it, but it takes me, I have to like warm up and really get there. With this, I tried his method and I was doing it like instantly. Just like,
That's crazy.
it was crazy.
Was it crazy?
I'll put a link,
Yes.
listeners, I'll put a link in the description on how to do it. So you guys can check it out and see for yourself.
Touch your toes.
Touch your toes.
Touch my toes.
I'm
Do you have
editing
a
that
one where you
out.
can like put your toes in your mouth like you were a little kid again? Like,
You can't do that?
Like a baby, just like, oh.
dude, no,
Wait.
I can't even get close. Ew, John.
I heard something pop.
Josh just touched his face with his foot.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, I definitely.
I can't
cannot
believe
do
you can't do that.
You got like womanly hips; they're so
I
wide.
think I can do that.
Thanks. I think.
Dude, I've got womanly hips.
You can do it. Seth, can you do it? Seth can do it.
Ew.
Nate, can you do it?
I don't know.
Nate's trying
All right,
it.
we're-
Listeners, Nate's trying right now. To see if he can do it.
I guess I might as well try it after. Nate did not even
Give
get
it a shot,
close.
Chase.
He's like a foot away. I don't
Give
know.
it a shot.
A foot away. Ha.
Oh, it popped my ankle.
Chase, did anybody hurt himself?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
So evidently, I have a lot of work to do.
I got close. Yeah,
I don't know.
I was actually pretty impressed with myself just now.
Good job, Chase.
Thanks.
You're the one who brought this up, so you can't
Yeah.
complain.
I just said I'm impressed with myself.
Good.
Playing. It did hurt a little, but
Stop complaining.
throw a flower at you.
So books.
Books.
You're reading a book about. Okay, what is the book about that you're talking about?
Well, all right. The title is Becoming a Supple Leopard, because he was talking to this guy who was a Navy SEAL or something like that. He works with a lot of like military people too.
Uh-huh.
And I guess they were stretching out like before workout or after or something. And the guy said something about like leopards not needing to stretch. And Kelly Starrett, the author of the book, was like, that's true, they don't. And like he kind of thought about that for a long time. And he's like, the reason they don't is because leopards only use like proper leopard mechanics, like anytime they do something. And the reason like we have like the hip problems and the shoulder problems and stuff we have is because we're constantly forcing ourselves into unnatural,
Sitting at a desk all day long?
unnatural like positions or whatever. Like basically sitting in a chair is an unnatural position. We should all just be
isn't
doing
that
a deep
crazy?
squat right now is what we should be doing.
Really? That makes sense.
Or standing.
We're standing. I'm just
Like
going to stand.
sitting in a chair like causes
stand the
hip
rest of the
impingement
podcast.
and all kinds of stuff that's bad for you. Tightens up your legs.
We're just going to start
tightens
doing
up
the
your hip
podcast
flexors,
standing up. Yep.
Or in a deep squat.
or in a
Yeah.
deep squat.
We're either going to do it
Which-
Slavic style or standing.
Dude, I
one of the
thought
two.
about that
Or
and like
reclining.
I was watching this thing one time. It was like a military documentary about Afghanistan and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And it's showing these Afghani guys, and like when they get tired of standing, they just like get down in a squat, and they just squat ass to grass and like sit there. And like one guy was like just sitting there, and he had like his arms around his legs, and he was just like sitting there squatted. And I was like, how many Americans could do this,
Not me.
dude?
Do we all need to do this right now? Do we all?
We can. I
No.
mean, we'd have to do it one at a time.
I'm wearing
That way
jeans.
someone
I
was
would
actually
rip-
talking.
Like
Yes.
most people don't have the ankle mobility or the hip mobility or anything, and like
My hips could
my
not do that.
belly's too big, really.
mean,
I
I
can
could-
get in a deep squat, but he had like his knees together with his arms around him, like I said. Yeah, like that.
Seth's just kind of like squatting on the
Is your
ground right
butt
now,
touching the
listeners.
ground?
No.
No.
No, but your butt doesn't have to touch the ground.
Okay.
That's not a. Yeah. Ass to ankles or ass to grass, whatever you want to call it.
Is that comfortable? That doesn't look comfortable at all. It's not uncomfortable.
Yeah, see,
Well, I mean,
I've got a lot of mass here, and that inhibits me from being able to do it very well without spreading my legs out to make room for my belly.
you see all these
Really open you
all
up
these
to
pictures,
Rochambeau's.
and it's kind of a,
Rochambeau's? Oh.
Yeah.
it's
Kick
a
to the nuts.
joke on the internet about like Eastern European dudes who just like kind of crouch and hang out near like their houses and stuff. Like it's a kind of racist, is what it is, but it's based on a stereotype that is factual. Like where a lot of like kind of gangstery thug dudes will just kind of in their tracksuits hanging out, squatting in the streets, beating up tourists.
Tracksuits. Awesome.
But no, I mean and I'm always like, that looks just so uncomfortable. But they're doing what Seth just did. Like that's the same kind of position.
Yeah. And like people sitting around the fire, like, and you're ready to move. Like if something happens, like standing up from that position is easy. Like,
Yeah, you could just jump, spring up.
and you can look up online like why full squats are good for you, but they really are good for your hips, good for your ankle mobility, good for a lot of things.
I'm so messed up. I'm only like 26 years old and I have
Dude,
so many physical problems.
I know. I wish I wouldn't have played football. I don't have a whole lot of regrets, but that's one of them.
Really, just
think
because of the physicality behind it.
I think my shoulders would probably be in better shape.
the ramifications.
I think probably my knees would too. Also, I'm fat and that doesn't help, but
Yeah, but you're working on that.
not
Is
really.
that football's problem or like, I mean, honestly?
Being fat?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay.
But I think that like football, like you feel like you got ran over by a truck like after every game. Like it's just I just feel like it can't be good for you.
Well, we
I think
know we know it's not long term because you see all these like NFL players coming out like now that are severe brain damage. They have a higher percentage of brain hemorrhage. They have a higher stroke percentage.
Pretty much when they retire, they're very close to death.
Yeah,
There was one I heard
2
about.
decades or
more
something.
likely to get Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
There was one I heard about who he retired and then they did brain scans on him and he was like in his late 30s, early 40s and he had like the same brain as somebody in their early 70s.
Yeah, his neuroactivity was just
Lord.
way worse than a normal person. And it's the same thing with like MMA fighters too. They have that same problem. Like they'll be in their retire at
Boxers.
35. Yeah, boxers too. Retire at 35, and you have the brain of an
Dude.
80-year-old.
I've heard like a lot of soccer players actually have like brain issues from like hitting the ball.
Really?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's probably just because they play soccer.
Well, that probably doesn't help either.
Sorry,
They
friends who
play
soccer.
soccer, and that's just terrible.
It's
Well, I mean-
not an American sport.
I mean, you see, like, on TV, they, like, kick the ball, like, I don't even know
That's
how
true,
far,
yeah.
like, 50 yards, and just flying through the air, and the dude's just standing there, and he's just like, cut, and just, like, hits it with his head. You're just like, good God.
like a freaking dolphin. Like,
That was the worst dolphin impression ever, by the way.
It'd be like Mike Tyson just winding up and punching you in the forehead. Like,
that would probably kill me.
well, yeah, that probably is worse, but
He's a
I'm just
pacifist
saying,
now.
like, that's a lot of force.
It is a lot of force.
But we're just, like, learning all the time, like, how, like, weak sauce the brain is. The brain just needs to get stronger.
Speaking of the Force, are you
all
guys cool
squishy.
with the Star Wars books?
The ones I've read.
They've been decanonized.
Oh, since Disney bought them, they've been decanonized?
Since they announced the new movies, yeah. The only things that are officially like canon for the storyline are
4, 5, and 6.
1 through 3.
Dang it.
Both Clone Wars series.
I heard the Clone Wars is actually really good. I
A
haven't.
couple books sanctioned by Lucasfilm. The Christmas special.
Wow.
It's not really canon.
Some
but
things, some of them that take place before everything else.
the Ewok movies. Those are sanctioned. They're okay. And then obviously the original trilogy, and then like there's a couple random books
Knights
that
of the Old Republic.
No,
I don't
All
know.
the
not,
video
no.
games.
It is officially not.
No
canon.
video games?
None of the video games. No, not one.
Not even Shadows of the Empire.
Not even Shadows of the Empire.
Those are so much better
want
than
Dash Rendar to
1, 2,
come
and
back.
3. Those are like the worst.
So yeah, I'm just saying, like a lot of stuff. They scrapped a whole bunch of the universe.
Oh, the universe is shrinking, guys.
The universe of Star Wars.
Gosh, like I think that's so cool that Lucas was able to make a world where like
didn't.
pretty much anybody could play in. Okay, Lucasfilms industry and friends
THX.
was able to make a world where like pretty much anybody could dabble in. Like I kind of want to make a book series and just live off of the money I can make from other people writing books for me.
That's what the
in my
Lovecraft family
series.
does.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Because I mean, Lovecraft, he built this mythos and he kind of set the ground rules, and then he kind of approved other writers like, if you guys want to play with us, do it, and they did. And so that's why we have these like Lovecraft video games and D&D series and books and all sorts of stuff that are all based in the universe. But you know, he's been dead since what, 54 or something like that. That could
That's
be.
so
I could be completely
I
wrong.
think
on that.
that's
I'm
really
gonna
cool.
look up when HP Lovecraft
I think it's cool,
died.
too.
It is neat. I mean, that is really cool. There's an official Harry Potter prequel that this guy wrote about James Potter and his friends.
It's official.
It's official. J.K. Not J.K. as in kidding. J.K. as in J.K. Rowling.
Just kidding, Rowling.
Just kidding, Rowling. She read them and approved them and said, "Yeah, this is perfect. This is 100% canon."
Cool.
H.P. Lovecraft died on March 15th, 1937.
I was so far off.
Yeah, you were.
He was only 46.
That just helped my argument more, though. Like, look how far that's come with him being dead for that long.
Okay, so new plan to make money.
Make a Cosmere and then go with it.
We should do that with our D&D universe. Let's make it really awesome and just sell that, and people can use it. And
So, like, D&D.
Yeah.
yeah, but it's a sub universe in D&D.
I'm sure Wizards of the
gotcha.
Coast would have nothing to say about that. They wouldn't care at all.
Dude, I found out that Wizards of the Coast just bought that like was it like 10 years ago or 15 years ago? It was owned by somebody else before that.
D&D, it's owned by, I can't remember his name now suddenly.
Not H.R. Geiger.
John Geiger.
That's the one.
Harry,
Truman.
something Gygax.
Gygax. Yeah, that is his name. I don't remember his first name, though. Weird last name, though.
Well, the thing that makes it D&D is the system, really. Because, like, you can go through the same adventure with some other system. Like,
Well, the system's been changed, though. They're on the 5th edition now, and the 5th edition looks very different than the 1st and 2nd edition. The 3rd edition and 3.5. 3 and 3.5 are the ones that are, like, really popular. It's really intense. But the purists are really into it. I personally like 4, and I'd like to try 5 because I've heard 5 is really easy. And I think that's more fun because you can get more people involved that way. When it's
They
not
don't
a
have
lot
to
of...
learn like statistics and
Yeah, when you don't have to do percentages and, like, figure out all these really horrible things.
well, I heard somebody say it's not about role playing, it's about role playing.
Nice. I like that.
And
that's good.
kind of what I think.
I think
Like,
that's
that's why I want to do
true.
Fate.
Fate is a good system, but what were you going to say, Chase?
Oh, I was just saying I like the concept of D&D because it's just a bunch of friends getting together. It's kind of like this podcast, and besides the part about making up a story, that's what D&D is. We're not just making up stuff on the podcast.
That's exactly
We're not
what we're
trying to
doing.
anyway.
Let's say that's,
Shh.
I mean,
Don't-
yeah, no, this is all scripted. We
Edit,
know-
edit that out. Edit that out.
Mhm.
Anyway, so you can make your own universe, and you can be exactly who you want to be, and then you can hang out with your friends and just play with your made up characters and interact in a different sense. And pretty much just be kids. Like, that's what's so fun. Like, imagination is so much more fun than reality, and that's why I'm trying to retire and not work anymore.
Are you really?
Yeah, I only work because I want to retire.
That's actually, that's the whole reason I'm writing a book, honestly, because I want to be my own boss again. I'm sick of other people telling me what to do, so I started writing a book.
Shut the hell up, Josh.
I'm 5 chapters in. It's gonna be good. Or it won't.
His book sucks, guys, just let you know.
Chase has read it and it doesn't suck. He's just being a jerk
I've
right
read
now.
it. It's pretty good.
I've only read the first 2 chapters, actually.
Really?
So
You haven't read the rest?
You need
I'll
to send
send
me.
you. I'll send you more.
Yeah,
How long did it take Patrick Rothfuss to get his first book
It's
published?
like 10 years.
Quite a long time.
Yeah, it took like a long... Dude, you might be ready to retire by the time you're ready to
Yeah,
retire.
I know. No, my plan is, I'm working hard on it. I write on it every single week. I haven't written on it. I wrote it on it Monday, but I haven't written on it since then.
So
And
hard for the money.
one of my coworkers sends me text messages randomly saying, "Have you written anything today?" And I'm like, "No."
Dude, so this is completely different than writing a book, but it's about a PhD paper, their thesis. And the guy decided that he was going to write like a sentence every day.
Uh-huh.
And he was done well before all of his other colleagues were. Like, he was just going to try and write something every day.
That's such
If
a
it
good
was just
idea.
sentence.
Tim Ferriss talks about that, I think.
But I don't know if it would work well because he obviously had done the research and he was pretty much picking his brain and writing it down. With you, I don't know how that would work with making a universe.
That would be perfect because, I already have the universe created in my mind.
Oh, okay.
That's already done. And I have where the story's going done. I just need to put it down on paper. What would be good for me to do is just every day sit down and attempt to write one sentence because I guarantee you I'd end up writing more than that.
Exactly.
It's the same thing that I tell kids when I teach them how to play guitar.
Yeah.
I'll say, sit down and try and play for 15 minutes a day.
Dude, just say 5.
I just say 15.
Just tell them 5 because everybody's like, yeah, 5 minutes. Yeah, that's good. Just
And every time, without fail, people will always say, they'll go at least 15 minutes, usually more. Almost always more.
Tim Ferriss calls it the minimum effective dose. And he also calls it, he just says, rig the game so that you can win. Like, you know, if you can't work out for an hour a day, then just work out for 5 minutes a day.
Tim Ferriss is the fitness guy, right?
Well, fitness, everything else. He's
Philosophy.
He's written a lot of books. Look him up. He's awesome.
that really is the hardest part, just starting. Like, once you start, it's a lot.
I heard an
easier.
interview with Tom Clancy because
Ah,
they were playing a bunch of
I
them
know
on
what you're talking
NPR right after he died.
Okay.
And somebody asked him at one of the panels, like at some convention, like, what's the hardest thing about writing? And he said, starting. He said, I've met a lot of writers. It happened with me that, I mean, you know, this is all paraphrasing. I don't know exactly what he said, but that the hardest part is just the first step. He said, after that, you know, you just do it. It becomes easy to just sit down and do it, but getting started is the hardest part, which is why I haven't done it yet.
Dan Harmon, he runs the Harmontown podcast. He writes Community. He's also the writer for like Rick and Morty and a bunch of other stuff. He said that writing became exponentially more difficult when the machines we use to write on became also an unlimited entertainment machine.
Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense.
And he's
So,
like,
are you writing on your typewriter?
me? No, I'm writing on my computer. And I'm pretty good at not like getting off task once I start. Once I start writing, I'll almost always knock out at least like 12, 13 paragraphs, which doesn't sound like much, but it is for me.
I think there are apps that you can download too, where you can say like, you can set it so that like, for instance, if you have Facebook and like you pull up Facebook, it'll just automatically close it like in 15 minutes or something like that.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure.
I had no idea that was a thing.
I've read
They should
about
do
those.
it
I don't
where
know if you can get it on.
Once you push it, like, I don't want to be able to pull up Facebook for 1 hour.
Well, they have a thing now called the Hemming Right. It's like $200, and it's essentially imagine like a Kindle screen, like a typewriter attached to a Kindle screen, and you just type it in, and then you can feed in paper, and it'll print it automatically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a modern typewriter, really, is what it is. And it's really
So a computer?
sort of, yeah, but different.
So it's a
And it
hipster
has
computer.
internet and
No, it doesn't. It doesn't do anything but type, and it has autocorrect.
you can make PowerPoints.
Yeah, I guess.
it-
probably.
Why don't you just shut off your Wi-Fi?
Yeah, that would work.
Like on your laptop? Or,
But I mean, like I said,
But then
I'm
what would
pretty.
hipsters buy?
they'd still buy Apple products.
They still-
But yeah, anyway, I'm pretty good at not paying attention to the internet. Once I start, that's the hard part though, starting.
Speaking of starting, we need to finish this podcast and our D&D characters for next week. So
We need to finish this podcast. Have we been going an hour? What time is it?
we've been going for freaking ever. How long have we been going?
Great. Exactly 1 hour,
Oh,
Chase.
yeah, dude, I was
that
feeling
was
it.
that was
Nice.
wonderful. With the edits that I'll do, we'll probably end up at like 56 minutes, probably.
All right, Seth, wrap us up with some, stop yawning. Just, oh, God.
Wrap it up tight.
Why are you
I
ruining?
don't know what to.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for listening to Black Mesa Radio. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Black Masons.
Our Black Mason listeners.
Black Masons.
Black Mesa.
Black Masons.
We'll see you next week. Maybe
One of us.
One.
One of us.
Google.
One of us. Oh, we're done?
One.
Okay.
Are we done? We're
Yeah,
done.
just cut it off.
Nathan didn't say bye.
Goodbye.
All right.